Anyway, we had junior high, high school, and college. And to think that you can meet 90-year-olds and 45 to 50-year-olds in the same group that's not realistic. That is not realistic. And so we said we will start, basically we had thought two groups. I'm hoping to go to a church that would like to start a ministry of 50 plus. I'd like to go to a church. I'd like it to be about 1,000 people so that there would be enough of a database so we could start 3 groups. And here's the age groupings. And I think it's very critical as you think of your ministry. If you focus on 60 and 65-year-old Bob's age and my age, your history. Because you'll die in 10 years, because we'll all be dead in 10 years. So my vision was to go 45 to 55. And that would be the middle school crowd. And then always 5 years overlapping. And then 50 to 65 would be the next group. 60 on up to whatever would be the last group. So there are 3 groups. 3 different leadership groups under the canopy of one ministry. So does this happen? There's a church, I was on sabbatical 4 years ago, and we were in a church in Vancouver, British Columbia, and they did that. And that to me is just a very excellent procedure. So anyway, that's our goal. That was our goal, to do 2 ministries. Well, we didn't get that off the table. We couldn't make it happen. So we began with 1, but we had Sunday school classes from 50 to 60, 55 to 65, 60 and older. So we have 4 classes. So we do basically have a division of Sunday school. We run about 160 to 180 people in Sunday school every week. We're the only department of the church that has Sunday school. There is no Sunday school above middle school at PCC. So it starts again at 50. So anyway, so it's a long span. But we feel that Sunday for our generation, not yours all, but our generation, the 60 years old, I'll use that as a base, they are so familiar to coming to church on Sunday. And they are so familiar to going to Sunday school. And this could become the very basic format for people to have their biblical enrichment in their lives. See, I am absolutely convinced spiritual ignorance is one of the greatest problems of victorious Christian living. You don't know the word. We have a large percentage of our church comes to 1 hour on Sunday morning, and they think that they can live the redemptive Christian life with 1 hour on Sunday morning. There's no way. No way. In 1 hour versus all the others are the week where you have the influences coming from the world. And so we say you need to be in a Bible study class. Now many of our people are in Bible study fellowship, and you have a ladies ministry at your...
They have we have WBS.
Yeah. So I realize there are a lot of those kind of things, but men are not terribly involved in a lot of those. Maybe in your church they are, I don't know.
We have men's fraternity.
And they sit at tables and do a study, right?
Yeah, it's not a Bible study, it's a book study or a video study.
Yeah, well you see, I'm talking about Bible study. Mm-hmm. Simply that if you're not in the Word, you don't really have a chance of becoming very knowledgeable about Jesus. And so that's my basic philosophy, that they need to be in the Word. So we have Sunday school, we come to worship. I believe that worship is the most imperative thing for this group, for the connection. You were mentioning connection being that comes out of the worship service. And then the experience of seminars. We do financial seminars. We've done a prayer seminar. We've had a variety of seminars that we provide intermittently. We do that as far as spiritual growth. And so that's part of our ministry. Then the experience of fellowship. We had Bunko, and I'll just show you. brought this just was yeah, so this is our bunco experience of a month ago. And this is a kind of thing. Are you familiar with bunco?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, it's a little
dice game.
Yeah, a dice game, 3 dice, and you sit around and you go, and it's a very simple game.
You had a picture of that big crowd on your video and that.
Yeah,
You filled up that whole room there.
Yeah, we had 91 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
For this.
91 people.
Pardon?
91 people.
Uh-huh.
And that's 4 at a table you're playing?
4 at a
Oh,
table.
okay. All right. Because I saw it on the video there.
Yeah, and so this was
Yeah.
the deal.
So
Bunko
how
and the
much
deluxe catered Chinese dinner, and so that's kind of the sense. And here's what we did: if you're a guest at our church, you never pay for anything that goes on if you're a visitor at our church. So $15, we absorb the cost. If we go on a ducks tour or whatever, one of those, we pay for. And we had 8 new people at our bunco, and so it fellowship is very strategic, but it is also outreach, and we are very strong in having. I don't know about your church, how many of your people are involved in service clubs. Our goal is to have someone in service clubs from Palo Alto to Foster City in a service club, and I'm in Redwood City.
Define service club.
Pardon?
Define service club.
Oh, Rotary,
Oh, okay.
Lions Club,
Okay.
Kiwanis.
Okay.
I've been in our club 10 years, and we now have 12 people coming from Redwood City Club to our church. And
What group are you in?
pardon?
What service group are you in?
Yeah,
Are you in one of the like Rotary?
I'm in
Rotary.
Rotary.
Okay. Rotary.
Yeah, and so consequently, and we have all the people from Rotary that come to our church. We have a supper group, and we have, out of the 12 people last night, we had dinner last night. Out of the 12 people last night, 4 of them were non-believers.
Wow.
And one of the non-believers said, "Let's have for discussion your experience with the guardian angel." Well, can you imagine a non-believer asking that question? And he had the experience. And so this is part of our ministry, that it's outreach through fellowship. And I think that's a very strategic thing that you need to consider doing. So we came and we said fun. We want a spiritual growth. We want to be in the discipleship is now a 5th added. We've added discipleship, and we will also have service. We now have introducing a program in June that if we're going to try to reach people that are in their early 50s to come and be involved in preparing for your parents' death. In the sense, who do you contact? We have a whole list of telephone numbers, Social Security, the driver's license, Medicare, hospitalization, all the different. We give telephone numbers here in San Mateo County, and then we also do all the variety of relational things that you need to do. And so I'm having a memorial service Friday of a lady in our church. The son took all the business side, made all the contacts, and the girl in the family did all the relational. And we provide that as a resource. Now that is being introduced, and we're having a workshop to help people prepare. You see, the tragedy in our world, people are in denial that their parents are going to die. I just had lunch with a guy today. He's 47 years old. Both his parents are dead. And we need to help people and when they come through that very difficult time to make it happen. So that's part of the spiritual growth ministry. And the service, we provide service for example, the greatest injury of people 65 and older is when they fall off of step ladders trying to put bulbs into their. So if you need a bulb change, if you're 50 plus, you call the service. They come to your house and they change the bulbs. They change the locks on the door. All the little kinds of things we want to help service. And we had a lady come and she said, I have 2 acres full of weeds. Would you come down and clear all my weeds? And the answer was no.
And she lives here in Redwood
Sure.
She lives in Belmont.
Oh, yeah.
Belmont, loaded with money.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Yeah.
we don't do that. But we
Yeah.
do have service.
You don't do windows.
Can you come polish my silver?
Yeah. Okay, that's kind of that's
Yeah.
what we show on the card, that we will provide a plus. Well, the program started in September of 2005, and it has grown. We also do trips. We have a farewell cruise this fall, going to the Mediterranean, and my son is a provost at a college in Philadelphia, and he's going to teach us where the early church was, and we're going to be in Istanbul. And there's a Christian church in Istanbul. They meet in the Danish embassy. You can't be openly talking about Christianity, but the embassy, Danish embassy, is basically owned by Denmark, that land in Istanbul. And Turkey cannot control what's going. So we're doing a fellowship, having a dinner with their congregation. Plus we're going to Corinth and Athens, and my son will teach that. And then we're going to Rome, and we're going to give the beginning of the early church. But that we do one of these every year, something like that. Last year we did a Reformation tour, started in Prague and ended up in Geneva. And so we've been to Holy Land a couple times, we've been to Egypt, and so, but that is the connection of our people. We have one lady, she lives in Portland, Oregon. She said, every trip you take, I want to go. So they come along. So that's kind of the way our mission started. And then we have our periodical. I don't know if Bob showed you our. We do this 4 times a year.
Yeah, I did show them that. It's
Did you have
beautiful.
enough for everybody?
Well,
this
we did, but we'll
This
appreciate it.
this is our current one. This is the one that we just did. And this comes out 4 times a year.
Thank you.
And we provide a spotlight. And this lady is 86 years old, moving to Greenville, South Carolina. And she's our spotlight this time. We share lots of pictures. You will notice this, it's loaded with pictures. And it's very interesting. When people have their picture in here, they come and ask, do you have any extra copies?
Yeah,
Isn't that
I think we understand that.
See, and if you're shown on a picture, they want to be involved. But anyway, this is our publication comes out 4 times a year. It's just called Spotlight, and it's just a fun thing. So that's kind of where we are. Again, I want to say evangelism and just community penetration. The social worker at Kaiser will call me, for example, and say, there's a lady that she's dying of cancer. She'd like a pastor to come, and she asked to be baptized. And so I talked to the social worker. I said, we just don't baptize. We're not here for baptism of regeneration, you know. But I will be glad to talk to the lady. And so yesterday I went, and her husband's Baptist from Japan. And his name is Ogawa, O-G-A-W-A. Her name was Betty. Well, she is a Christian. And I was Baptist, and here I sprinkled this lady in the hospital yesterday. But anyway, so
Do you think that counts now? Come on, Rod.
yeah, I need it. But Covenant baptizes both ways.
Both.
So I signed a little statement that I will do This is only my second baptism since 1984. Sprinkling. I've dunked, but not the sprinkling side.
It's like riding a bike, right?
Yeah.
Get right back in.
But you see, the point is, this ministry should connect with every agency. We just did a remake of a park up at Fair Oaks, Rotary, and the police department and sheriff department from San Mateo were the agencies. Well, our Plus ministry came alongside with them. And it's a tremendous opportunity. When a social worker calls me and says, I have this patient, would like to see you, and then we have a chance to go, this is part of our ministry of 50 plus. So we are at on a high like this. We're growing this way, and that's a great time to quit. When 10-year anniversary, and I'm looking for a job, and possibly have an interview in Annapolis, Maryland, to go to Evangelical Presbyterian Church in Annapolis, Maryland.
That's my summer turf.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and we
Good for you.
we're Pasadena was a possibility. So somebody asked me, where are you willing to go? I'm willing to go from St. John's, Newfoundland, to Fairbanks, to Florida, to Southern California. Somewhere in that area is where I'd like to go. And I'd like to go to a church and say, I'm 84 years old, I'll give you 5 years. And I'd love to start a program for your church and see how God can work, and then believe God that you'll need a full-time pastor for this ministry when we're done. So that's kind of an overview of what we are. And our leadership team has had change, and that is absolutely wonderful when you have regular change, because this ministry isn't a static ministry, it's dynamic. And if your ministry isn't dynamic, and one of the reasons we're leaving is my wife said to me about a year ago, when I said I want to start this younger group at the church, and she said, Rod, you can't start it, you're too old. I think, wait a minute.
Come on.
I may be 84.
Come on.
But I don't think 85.
No.
Then she made a statement, and it took me 3 months to get my ego to accept this. She said, people in the church perceive you as old because you work with old people.
No, well, that tell you.
But that's what she said. So, anyway, it finally got through my head, and so we hope to go to a church. If I go to a brand new church, they don't feel like I'm too old to start a younger group, but it's at PCC where that problem is. She didn't say you're too old anywhere else, but at PCC you're too old. And
I think
she's
your wife
right.
is smart.
She's absolutely right.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
it makes sense.
How intuitive of her.
But you see, we need the church doesn't need an old guy like me. They need a 52-year-old guy to make it happen in a church. 52 would be the great age, because your age is totally in denial that you need to be involved in this kind of ministry. And if a younger guy leads the ministry, then it can go. If I were to go to church and start a younger ministry, I'd immediately get for an assistant 52 years old to do that. And you need a guy at 52, because all of the people that are older have been Christians a long time. And we need to have a guy that's a pastor and has some understanding of the biblical exposition of the word and relationship. And that's kind of my philosophy base. But anyway, that's kind of where we are. Okay.
She had a question, huh?
You said a younger group. When you said a younger group, I was trying to get it down here. You said you needed a group at 45.
45 to 55.
Yeah.
And because, you see, for example, all of the leadership team that we got 10 years ago were all in their early 50s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
See, now they're in their middle 60s. See, we need another group
It's
with
like
the
a feeder group,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah, and so that it's
It's the future.
imperative.
Yeah. It's the
45 to 55, and basically it is the middle school. It probably, the greatest hindrance in that age level is parents are still running a lot of schedules for kids with baseball and ballet and a lot. They're still very, very much involved. But you got to get the mindset that they're going to be very strategically involved in the ministry of the church. And if you don't provide something, if you are an empty nest, who's going to really make the appeal for those people to really connect with the church?
Yeah.
45 to 55 is the absolute imperative for that kind of a ministry. We at 65 and 70 and 80, they will come to a ministry because most churches are run by young guys who don't really understand us, older folk. But the 45 to 55, if that is led by a 50-year-old, that'll be the salvation of CPC for 50-plus ministry. Bob is not the continuing thing for your seniors ministry. It's guys like, there you are, those 4 people right there.
Oh, I'm
Thank
not-
you.
I'm 60.
Yeah,
Yeah, but you're not 70.
No, not
Yeah.
yet.
and you don't have 60, okay?
No, you don't have 60.
No.
So
I know.
if I could just make one pitch, that's my big pitch, that you gotta help people to get in the Word.
Mhm.
People are not in the Word. They're not having prayer time on their own. I met with one of our pastors today, and he said, when do you pray? I said, I pray when the only thing I can do is pray. And when is that? 5 o'clock in the morning. The only thing I can do at 5 o'clock in the morning is sleep. Nobody wants to see me at 5. But somehow down the way we have to help people to become people of prayer. A guy said, I'm reading through the Bible every year. Oh, really, the son said. Really, you read every year? Oh, I read it from cover to cover every year. So what the son came the next year and said, Dad, how'd you do this year? I read the whole Bible. And he said, no, you didn't. I absolutely did. Every book. He said, I cut out the book of Jonah from your Bible and you never were aware that the book of Jonah was gone. You're a hypocrite. You're not in the Word. That's an indictment that is just not acceptable for us as people. And that's my big pitch is get people in the Word. All of this stuff we do over here is for one reason, and that is to have them come relate to who Jesus is.
Amen.
Either Jesus is a good deal or not, but you can't have Jesus as a good deal if you don't know him. And the only way you'll know him is through the book. So I know I'm preaching to the choir. I know
Well, that's
that,
good,
but
though.
you got to
No,
preach
no,
it.
no,
You got to
no.
keep.
Like preaching?
Yeah, no, what you're saying, Rod, is spot on.
And
It's
so
what we
anyway,
need to hear.
yeah,
It's what we're looking for.
and I hope. How large are your database now for 50 plus?
We don't have a database.
You don't have a database.
No, we've got a
Well, we have
hey,
that form.
affinities. What's that?
We have that one, and we have some numbers, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we all know that's not really representative of our
Yeah.
current population.
We've never, since I've been here, I've never lassoed and sent out an email to everybody, over 50, so I don't know what that count is.
Yeah, and if you just go down, and when you don't have a database, you have to creatively find out enough people that have some understanding, and they go through the directory of the church, and go and let's say this group over here would go through the directory of the church, and they would say this one is 50 years and older, that mark it down. Then have your administrative team at church formulate that list, and then make an introductory thing and then select a group of people that might be involved in helping formulate a ministry. But it has to happen at a very, very basic foundational thing. you gotta know who the people are to have a ministry with the people.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to get back to the word here, and you mentioned that you had Bible studies, and that was a very important part. Now, did you do home Bible studies? Are they smaller group?
They're a Sunday school.
Okay, Sunday school
Sunday
Bible studies.
So you go to church and then to Sunday school?
Yeah, we go. They either go to Sunday school first and then church, or church and then go to Sunday school.
Because you have several services.
Yeah, and the older class,
Yeah.
meets Thursday morning because we don't have enough room on our campus for all the classes. So the one class meets during the week at 10:30, and they're basically the 70-year-olds and older. We have about 36, 45 come to that class on Thursday. I happen to teach that class, but I'm doing Joshua. We just done Romans. We First Corinthians. We do. My goal would be always to do book studies, and then in the summer we'll do topical studies in the summer to give a variety. But my biggest concern is biblical ignorance.
Yeah.
Well, Doc, let me ask you this right now. CPC does not have a traditions type service. From what I understand, your tradition service is more like piano, organ, choir. Okay,
Hymns.
CPC didn't have that. CPC is all contemporary.
Sure.
How big of a factor is that in developing this type of a ministry? The fact that we don't have that, and Sunday schools, every time you even bring it up, they say, "Are you kidding? We don't even have room for the kids. We're renting, room at a charter square, even to take care of our own kids." That's always the answer when you even talk about Sunday school.
You see, they told us last year you can't have Sunday school anymore. So what I did, I went to Kenyatta College and I rented 4 rooms. You might want to go to
CSM?
CSM, and how can you go CSM 10 minutes down the freeway? How long would
Yeah,
it?
with no traffic.
We have rec centers.
Less than
Yeah.
10 minutes.
Close
to
by,
me.
we
Yeah.
could.
Yeah, but you see,
92.
Kenyatta to PCC is 5 minutes.
Next door,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so we go to church, have fellowship time. They can still have fellowship time, and then at 10:30 drive up and have
So
Sunday school.
creative.
So you don't have it on your campus.
We
then?
do now. You see, we found 3 classrooms we could do it. What it cost? It cost us $1,000, $700 a Sunday to have Sunday school up at Kenyatta. Well, if you have a sugar daddy of some kind that could underwrite that, then that would be deal. I don't know what CSM would cost, but I certainly would invest. I realize I'll answer your contemporary service question, but you see, if you're going to reach 55 years and older, most of those people have been in Sunday school at some time. You been in Sunday school as a child?
No.
No?
Catechism.
Pardon?
Yeah.
Catechism.
Yeah.
Sunday school?
Yeah. No.
No?
I was as an adult.
Sunday school.
1,
Yeah.
2, 3. None of our staff, get
Right.
this, none of our staff attended Sunday school.
Yeah.
So how would you think would our staff be passionate about Sunday school?
Exactly.
It doesn't happen.
Doesn't happen.
But the people of this age would love to be in Sunday school. Now you haven't been, but
Well, you came to faith later, didn't you?
yeah, you came to faith what?
I came to faith later.
Last week.
Month ago? No. I've been going to CPC. Well, I'm clean and sober. I got sober 24 years ago. So I came around searching at that time.
Yeah.
And then I found CPC. They had a higher power meeting. So I've been going there for 22
Sure.
years. And then through that, I went to the church.
Yeah.
So it's been several, 15
Yeah.
years, 12 years.
And
So your real church experience.
yeah, this is
is
and the
very
kind of
hard.
a,
This is perfect.
Right, it
Because
went from the
that's
back door.
often
Yeah,
the
instead of from
doorway
the front
into
door.
CPC,
yeah.
especially for this community we're talking about. It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And because we're not a church that does Sunday school, those people would not be
Yeah, and
have that experience for sure.
you know, I hear a lot about, well, yeah, we have small group ministry at our church. We have a men's group, we have a women's group, and 40% of those people are 50+ people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we urge our people. I mean, if I had a druthers, I'd have them involved in every Bible study. I'd have them at BSF, I'd have them at community Bible studies, I'd go wherever. Because my biggest concern is biblical illiteracy is not an accepted model.
Yeah.
It is not accepted.
When was it that PCC stopped doing Sunday school? Because when we were there years ago, 22 years ago, they had the pace setters and the
Sure.
encouragers
Sure.
and.
See,
when did
I
that
was
all
involved in
stop?
setting all of those up. We had
Oh, okay.
we had 700-800 in Sunday school for in those days.
Mhm.
Well,
What
you
happened?
see, I would say John Peterson's era probably was the discontinuing of the younger
Probably.
adult programs. That would be 15 years ago, 20 years ago.
More than that, yeah.
But when I came in 2000, I'm so hard-nosed about this. And I was a Christian ed director in the 50s, for Pete's sake. You know, I was at First Baptist Lakewood, and we had 2,300 in Sunday school. And so I know the transformation that goes. My heart is sick when I think people think that 1 hour a week going to worship, a 20-minute sermon, is going to give them a basic foundation for life. And that's why I'm so hard on this.
One of the things, you know, we really are trying to, in fact, I think, you know, that was the main reason why I was hired here, was to advance our community groups, which are small groups. We call them community groups, and most of them are in the Word. There are some topical, but we do a lot of sermon based
and that's
studies,
great.
and that's all great. But I do know, and from my past experience, that you know, I mean, my wife's parents are still alive, and they actually drive. She's 83 and he's 88, but they don't drive at night. You know, so community groups are usually at night.
Exactly.
And so they're not going to go to something like that.
Sure.
And I imagine there's a lot of population here at CPC where they say, well, yeah, I like to be in a community group, but I'm just not comfortable leaving the house after dark. And so thus Sunday school type of format also works for the age group that they like.
But that's part of our generation. It's not just that we're used to it. For example, the people, anybody over 60 will talk about, have you ever driven down the freeway and it's caught a glare on the lights coming at you? That's 60-year-olds. Your age. So, but I am not hard on Gary and the staff members that they haven't been in Sunday school. I say, be practical, be pragmatic. What is it that would be available for people older to be in the Word? And I think Sunday morning is really the key for that particular group.
Yeah.
But
is Gary a topical preacher?
well, you know, he was very expositional when he started in 8 years ago, but he will do the book of Ephesians now starting in the summer. But we've been on topics. We're on heaven right now. We're doing a topic, but so I don't know whether he is in transition to be more topical. But I think his philosophical base, he's a graduate of Trinity. Where did you go to seminary? Talbot?
Same place he went.
My son is a Talbot grad.
Good school.
When did you graduate from Talbot?
91.
81?
91.
91.
You're old.
52.
You're right.
I think Brian graduated in 86. He was with John MacArthur's church, and he taught at Masters for 6 years. Anyway, so but yeah, the small groups that we have wonderful women's small groups and men's small groups. We have great thing, but it's when you don't have it under your control. All of those are community groups, and you have no idea whether the guy is really prepared tonight, and so he says, I'll just raise a question, and we just have a kind of a bull session, and you know that that happens in all small
I
groups.
know.
I'm
You know, we-
totally,
You know, I just want to throw this out there. You know what we did at CPC several years ago now, but every community group, our community group studies were tied into the sermons. And our pastoral team is expository teaching, not topical, but during this era, the whole church, we did Sunday morning, tied into our small group, community group throughout the week.
Mhm.
And so we would prepare, it's kind of like BSF, we would prepare during the week, do our study, and then come and hear the teaching on Sunday morning. What little Sunday schools,
yeah.
right?
In November, Gary is preaching through the book of Ephesians. All of our Sunday school classes, all of the small group ministry are going to do just that.
Yeah.
But our teachers say, well, that we have particular cultural and spiritual needs that are within our life stage, and we need to do a book study that really will meet the needs. So there is a kind of a philosophical issue
Sure.
there.
Sure.
Yeah.
What before you forget though, what about this
Contemporary.
contemporary service?
Yeah.
Is that a big factor? And what do you think of it?
It's a big factor if you have traditions and contemporary service. Then it's a big factor, because then now all of a sudden you have a choice. But if you're all contemporary, then it shouldn't have any bearing. It should, the people come to church and they could go to either. You have 2 services in the morning
3 at
Three.
Foster City, yes.
in Foster City, 3.
Yeah,
And 2 at North
2 at North
and
and 1 at
1
Redwood City.
in Redwood City.
So 2 in Foster City and 1 here.
3 in Ross Foster City.
We
Three?
have
Oh.
3 campuses. So Foster City right now is our largest. And
Yeah.
it has 3 services, and then we're up in San Bruno and we have 2, and then we're in Redwood City. We have 1.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So basically you have 6 services for your
Yeah.
church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but the very fact is, I don't think in a church that is contemporary, and that is your style. My guess is PCC will be all contemporary in 5 years, because that's the way it goes. But then I would also say probably in the year 2050, someone will come and say, you know, we used to sing hymns. Why don't we get back to, it can be cyclical,
Sure.
but I don't think that's a problem if that's what you have. But if you have a choice, then people say, "Oh, I'm not going to go to your church because I want traditions." No, you come to our church. This is what we are, and I see that to me is great. You have other agenda items. It's 5:45.
Yeah. Do you have anything?
Any other questions?
I was
I
kinda,
have 2 more answers.
I was kind of
Ask the
curious
right
as to, you said on Sundays that people that spend 20 minutes to an hour in church, that's not enough, and then you mentioned you had to add Sunday school. So you're saying that going to church and then going to Sunday school, I mean, because I know Bob does a Bible study on Tuesday nights, I go to one on Thursday nights, and I do something
Sure.
on Mondays, and so I mean, I'm
Sure.
and
Thursday
there's a men's
morning.
frat on
Sure.
Thursday mornings, but for the population of the church, I still don't think that 30-minute sermon and an hour in Sunday school is going to get you to the Word.
No, don't misunderstand.
I think maybe I did, because that's what I heard.
No. I am saying 20-minute, 25-minute sermon is not enough.
Right?
So if you add Sunday school for another 45-minute, I am totally convinced you need to be in small community groups during the week. And here's my basic understanding on that. Worship is together as a body. The Bible study in a Sunday school class is biblical exegesis, an opportunity to integrate some biblical thought. The laboratory of life comes in the community groups. The community groups. Now, I don't know what your class is about where you teach, but the community groups to me is where the life of the believer is really becoming a daily experience. But you guys pray for each other. You see, there's a whole connection.
I would totally agree. That's exactly what mine is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where you know, practical, how do you do it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There, you can't go on, wait, oh, Pastor, just a minute.
Right.
You just said,
Oh, wait a minute, go back.
that's my
Yeah.
point of view. I may be wrong.
You
What do you
can't do
mean?
that.
You're preaching and you might say, I may be wrong. How does that work?
Yeah.
People don't have a chance to do that. In Sunday school, they have a little more. In your community groups, they can really raise the issues.
Yeah.
I think it's really nice in our community group. We have 2 lessons we do, and this is twice a month. And so we basically, one woman said, oh, it's kind of a lot to go over, let's say 16 questions for community group because I have WBS. She led a group, and she goes, it's just a lot. So now we came up with, between both the sermons, just do 2. What impacted you the most? What question impacted you? So we kind of go back and forth,
Sure.
dialogue back and forth, and it's really beneficial.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm out of here.
I got one more question. Tell me about the extent of your leadership team.
Okay. We have
You have a whole fellowship, activity piece, all this.
we have one couple. There are, we consider them the lay leaders of the group. My wife and I meet with them for dinner every week. And so we connect with them on a weekly basis. We have a fellowship couple, we have a service couple, we have a fun couple, we have a discipleship couple, we have the spotlight lady, she's a single type lady, and so they have their subcommittees. Fellowship has 4 couples with them, service has 3 or 4, spiritual growth has another 3 or 4. So those are the committees, and at our leadership meeting, the second Monday of the month, all the committee reports come and make their reports to our leadership team. Then we prepare the couple that we meet with. We prepare the agenda, and we talk with the different leaders of the various committees, and we find out where their thinking is, and we try to be proactive in leading our ministry into the next level. I am totally convinced if you're going to sit and be satisfied with what your ministry is now, your history. Never be satisfied, just
Right.
always press. And
That's
that's the leadership team.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You have no idea how meaningful your time here.
Thank you
with us
so
is.
much, Rod.
It's
Really.
just-
Thank you, sir.
Thank
This-
you.
this-
Yeah.
I thought I had
Perfect.
10 minutes, and then he said I
Listen.
had 45, and I've already taken
Listen,
an
this-
hour. So
I mean, I've heard you this is the second time, but I've gotten so much from it, and I've been videotaping you in case. I thought I'd just tell you, and there's a couple of others that may be interested. So I'm gonna.
Sure. Oh, that's
you don't have any problem. Okay,
That's good.
Because
I'm glad you captured it all because I usually take notes and I'm want to take a picture of your notes because so I can
Oh, my
distribute.
notes
But
are-
you know what? I was
If
you
really
wanna-
happy to see you were
Oh, yeah.
capturing it.
if you want to go
Listen,
with us
I'm
on
gonna-
our,
Absolutely invaluable.
I'm
on our
gonna
cruise, you want to come with us? You're welcome.
thank you.
We'll take you.
I am just so, I can't believe Phyllis, because Phyllis, she led my son to the Lord when he was 3 years old at VBS, at Vacation Bible School.
Yeah.
And she had her little Bible table. She used
Oh
to
yeah,
talk
she
with the
still
kids.
does that.
And it was amazing, because I used to help out.
I
and
saw
she
you read
was-
that. I thought probably you were
I was,
interested.
yes, 'cause she was just an amazing